The Doom Slayer is one of the most iconic figures in gaming, an unstoppable force of vengeance. But few know that this raging juggernaut of death has a much deeper origin. In Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, it's revealed that the Doom Slayer is not just some marine with a bad attitude. He's the Doom guy from the original 1993 game. That's right. The man who began as a nameless pixelated soldier evolved into a mythic force feared by gods and demons alike. After the events of the classic Doom games, the Slayer didn't die or disappear. He continued the fight across dimensions. The Doom Slayer becomes a godlike legend not because of magic or prophecy, but because of his endless wrath, forged in blood and steel. He's the personification of rage and justice, cursed with immortality and driven by revenge after demons killed his pet rabbit, Daisy. And yes, that's canon. Part 2. The wretched betrayal of the Night Sentinels. The Night Sentinels were the elite warriors of Argent Energy, honor-bound protectors of their realm. And the Doom Slayer? He once fought among them. But the most heartbreaking twist in Doom lore comes when the Sentinels, manipulated by the corrupt Maykr, betray their own. In a desperate attempt to save their world, the Sentinels turn to the power of hell itself, using demonic essence, Argent Energy, to power their cities. This pact with the Dark Realm led to doom, literally. The Slayer stood against this corruption, but it was too late. His own people were deceived, and the once noble order fell into disgrace. What's left is a tragic reminder that even the bravest warriors can fall, not by the blade, but by the seduction of power. Part 3. The tragic fate of the Doom Slayer's son. One of the deepest cuts in Doom lore is the loss that forever changed the Slayer. Before he became the hell-slaying monster we know, he was just a man and a father. In the Doom Eternal Codex, it's revealed that his son was killed during a demonic invasion. This moment shattered the Slayer's humanity. He begged the Sentinels and the Maykrs to help him bring his son back. The Maykrs refused, but hell offered a deal. In desperation, the Slayer walked into the infernal realm, hoping for a miracle. Instead, he was transformed. His humanity burned away. What returned was no longer a father, but an executioner. This origin story, hidden in lore entries, gives Doom's carnage a powerful emotional core. The Slayer doesn't fight for glory. He fights because everything he loved was taken from him. Part 4. The Maykr and the Divine Deception. The Maykr is one of the most visually stunning and narratively crucial characters in Doom Eternal. To her followers, she is a divine being, ruler of Urdak, the Holy Realm. But her godhood is a lie. The Maykr is a creation of the Maykr species, a biological construct that rules until her body deteriorates. What makes her terrifying isn't just her power. It's her cold logic. She believes salvation comes through the subjugation of hell's energy. By harvesting souls from conquered worlds and converting them into Argent Energy, she maintains balance, at the cost of entire civilizations. Her betrayal of the Night Sentinels, her deal with hell, and her manipulation of prophecy make her one of Doom's greatest villains. She believes she's saving reality. But the Doom Slayer knows the truth. She's only preserving her own power. Part 5. Samuel Hayden. Savior or Schemer? Dr. Samuel Hayden is one of the most enigmatic characters in the modern Doom universe. Once a brilliant scientist dying of cancer, he transferred his consciousness into a powerful mechanical body. Hayden is responsible for exploiting Argent Energy on Mars, believing he could use Hell's power to save humanity. But his ambition is both brilliant and dangerous. He sees the Slayer as a necessary tool but also a threat. His dialogue is filled with contradictions, praising the Slayer while warning him. Is Hayden a hero trying to save Earth? Or a power-hungry visionary willing to risk annihilation for progress? Some fans speculate that Hayden is linked to the Seraphim, a Maykr who secretly helps the Slayer. That theory proved true in Doom Eternal, when Hayden is revealed to be the Seraphim in disguise. He's not just a man. He's a god, wearing a machine's mask. Part 6. The Betrayer and the Curse of Immortality. The Betrayer, also known as Valen, was once a mighty Night Sentinel. He too lost a son to the demons. But unlike the Slayer, he gave in to Hell's bargain. He traded the keys to Argent Energy's defenses for the promise of his son's resurrection. But Hell lied. His son returned as the icon of sin, a monstrous demon weapon. Racked with guilt, Valen vanished into the shadows of Hell. Now, cursed with immortality, he wanders the burning wastes, aiding the Slayer when he can. His story is a dark mirror to the Doomslayers. Two fathers, broken by grief, who chose different paths. One became a warrior, the other a ghost. Part 7: The Icon of Sin. A weapon born from tragedy. The Icon of Sin is more than just a final boss. It's the embodiment of betrayal and despair. In classic Doom, it was a terrifying demon wall. In Doom Eternal, it's reimagined as a titanic, soul-fused monster. But its origin is deeply personal. The icon is the corrupted son of Valen, the betrayer. Twisted by Hell's magic, it becomes the ultimate weapon against Urdak and the Slayer. When the Slayer battles it in the ruins of Earth, he's not just stopping an apocalypse. He's putting an innocent soul to rest. Every punch, every blast, is retribution for lies, for lost futures, for stolen lives. The Icon of Sin represents the cost of every bad decision in Doom's universe. And when it falls, so does the last hope of Hell's dominion. Part 8: The Divinity Machine and the Making of a God. How did the Doomslayer become more than human? The answer lies in the Divinity Machine. Hidden in the lore of Doom Eternal, the machine is an ancient Maykr device capable of enhancing mortals beyond comprehension. When the Slayer is put through this ritual, he emerges changed. Faster, stronger, eternal. But there's more. The machine was likely designed to create gods. The Khan Maykr feared the Slayer not just for his rage, but because he was ascending. Some fans theorized the divinity machine tapped into the Father, the creator deity of the Doom universe. Whether through science or divine will, the Slayer is no longer a man. He's something greater, a divine reaper, proof that even the gods should fear what they create. Part 9: Hell's Hierarchy. The true lords of the underworld. Hell in Doom isn't just a place, it's an empire. It has rulers, politics, betrayals, and ancient wars. The Dark Lord, also known as Davith, sits at the top. But there are other key figures like the archdemons, the hell priests, and the corrupted titans. These aren't just mindless beasts. They are ancient, intelligent, and cruel. The hell priests once guided the Slayer in battle, until they turned. The Dark Lord himself is the universe's original being, a prototype created before the Father. When Davith was denied eternal life, he created Hell as a rebellion. Doom's lore flips the usual script. The demons aren't just evil. They were betrayed, and that betrayal turned them into monsters. But the Slayer? He doesn't care. He's the ultimate equalizer, destroying both tyrants and rebels alike. Part 10: The Final Twist. Doom and Heaven are connected. The most mind-blowing revelation in the Doom Eternal mythos is this: Heaven and Hell are connected. Urdak, the realm of the Maykrs, is presented as a holy, radiant place. But it is deeply flawed. The Maykrs rely on Hell's energy. The Father, an omnipotent being, created the Maykrs, the universe, and even the Slayer's destiny. Doom reveals that good and evil, divine and infernal, are two sides of the same coin. The war isn't just about saving Earth, it's about reclaiming balance. The Doomslayer isn't fighting for one side. He's fighting against corruption in all its forms. Whether in the pits of Hell or the halls of Heaven, the Slayer answers to no god, no demon, no master, only the eternal call of vengeance. Part 11: The Father, creator of all, forgotten by most. In the deep lore of Doom Eternal and the ancient gods' expansion, a mysterious entity known as the Father emerges. He is not a demon, not a Maykr, not even a being of flesh. He is the original architect of all existence, the one who created Urdak, the Maykrs, even Davith, the Dark Lord. But in a cruel twist, Davith was stripped of his rightful place by the Father, cast aside like a failed experiment. This divine betrayal sparked the creation of Hell itself. And here's the kicker: the Father, this all-powerful God, willingly places his essence into a device, hiding among mortals. Why? Because he knows his creations are flawed. that his perfect order has spiraled into corruption. The Father doesn't stop the Slayer. He allows him to destroy, because the Slayer, in his fury, becomes the very reset button the universe needs. The hand of divine judgment, wearing a Predator suit. Part 12. The origin of Argent Energy. Fuel of the damned. Argent Energy powers everything in Doom's modern universe, from the BFG to interplanetary travel. But its source is horrifying. Argent Energy is literally refined human souls. When a person dies in a hell-corrupted world, their soul is harvested, tortured, broken down, and converted into pure power. The process is managed by Hell's machines and perfected by the Maykrs. Entire civilizations are drained, their essence turned into fuel. Earth's invasion in Doom Eternal wasn't just about destruction. It was a harvest. The UAC didn't just open a portal to hell. They became its partner, all in the name of progress. Argent Energy represents the core theme of Doom's lore, the cost of power. How far would humanity go to survive? And what happens when survival turns to exploitation? The answer is scorched into every burning crater on Mars and Earth. Part 13. The Seraphim. God's right hand, humanity's secret guardian. Before he was Samuel Hayden, before he was a machine, he was something else entirely. The Seraphim. Powerful Maykr loyal to the Father. While the Khan Maykr sought control, the Seraphim sought balance. It was the Seraphim who chose the Doomslayer, who placed him in the divinity machine, who broke every law of Urdak to give a mortal the power of a god. When Hayden sacrifices himself to help the Slayer, it's not just a man risking his life. It's an angel falling from grace. The Seraphim knows what's coming, the final battle between creation and destruction. He doesn't fight with guns. He fights by empowering the one being who never stops. The one being who can't be bargained with. The one being who ends empires with a punch. The Seraphim doesn't ask for thanks. He just opens the door and lets the Slayer through. Part 14. The Maykrs. Angels with rotten halos. The Maykrs are elegant, powerful, radiant, and completely hollow. These self-proclaimed divine beings rule Urdak, enforcing order with the cold precision of machines. Their angelic form hides a horrifying truth. They are not gods. They are flawed creations, obsessed with control and terrified of death. Unlike the Father, they cannot reincarnate. When a Khan Maykr dies, another must be built. To prolong their lives, they made a deal with Hell, sacrificing mortals in exchange for Argent Energy. It's not a war between good and evil. It's a trade deal, a cosmic compromise, and the cost is measured in screams. The Maykrs preach order but practice genocide. Their flaw isn't cruelty, it's cowardice. And in the end, even their luminous kingdom is reduced to rubble by a mortal who remembers what they forgot. That power means nothing without justice. Part 15. The Slayer Testaments. Prophecies written in fear. Throughout Doom, 2016, and Doom Eternal, ancient stone tablets called the Slayer Testaments reveal the Doom Slayer's legend. But these aren't just records. They're warnings, written by demons. These creatures, who rule with fire and steel, fear him. They don't name him. They call him the Slayer, the Unchained Predator, the Hellwalker. In their eyes, he is not a man. He is a force of nature. The Testaments speak of a day when he will rise, when he will shatter their gates, when no army will stop him. And they were right. What's chilling is that these aren't prophecies. They're memories. The Slayer has done this before. Again and again. Worlds fall. Gates burn. And still he walks. No prayer. No mercy. Just the sound of boots on broken skulls. Part 16. The Unchained Predator. Doomslayer's Eternal Curse. The Doomslayer cannot die. Not in the traditional sense. He's been sealed in sarcophagi, buried in forgotten realms, trapped in alternate dimensions. And every time he returns. Why? Because the Slayer is bound to the very fabric of hell. After entering the cursed dimension in his grief, he became something more than human. Time doesn't touch him. Age doesn't claim him. He doesn't eat. He doesn't sleep. He kills. This immortality is not a blessing. It's a sentence. He'll never rest. He'll never forget. Every waking moment is filled with the faces of those he failed to save. The Slayer doesn't speak. Not because he can't, but because there's nothing left to say. The demons took everything. Now he takes it back. Part 17. Doomguy's Helmet. Symbol of the end. One of the most powerful moments in Doom Eternal is silent. After the final battle, after the last demon falls, the Slayer returns to his resting place. He kneels and removes his helmet. We don't see his face. We don't need to. What we see is a warrior, finally still. The helmet isn't just armor. It's a mask, a shield, a barrier between man and myth. When he removes it, the war is over. For now, that small, quiet act hits harder than any BFG blast. Because under all the rage, the fury, the unending violence, is still a man. One who hurts, one who remembers, one who waits for the next call to rise. Part 18. The Ancient Gods. Ending the first story. The Ancient Gods expansion is more than DLC. It's the conclusion to everything. The Slayer battles gods, armies, even the literal origin of evil. He descends into Hell's core. He slays the corrupted seraphim. He destroys the life sphere of the Father. And finally, he kills Davith, the Dark Lord, his mirror. But in doing so, he shatters the cosmic balance. Without Davith, there is no hell. Without hell, the Slayer has no purpose. And so, he is placed into stasis. Not dead, not at peace, just waiting. It's a Shakespearean ending to a blood-soaked saga. The ultimate warrior victorious but alone. His war is over, but only until the next threat arises. Part 19. Doom Across Dimensions. The Multiverse Theory. Doom doesn't exist in a vacuum. In the lore of Doom Eternal, especially with the introduction of the Dark Lord, it's revealed that there are many versions of reality. Many Slayers, many Earths, many Hells. The Slayer we follow is the one who survived, the one who endured. Other timelines fell. Other Slayers died. But ours became legend. This multiverse angle ties into Quake, Wolfenstein, even whispers of connections to Commander Keen. It's not just a fun Easter egg. It's a statement. Doom isn't just a game. It's a myth. And myths echo forever. Part 21. The Hell Priests. Traitors in Robes. The Hell Priests, D. Granik, D. Gnylox, and D. Grav, aren't just creepy figures with skull helmets. They're the architects of Earth's fall. Once members of the Night Sentinels, they turned against their own people during the war against Hell, seduced by promises of power and immortality. The Maykrs installed them as overseers of the soul harvest on Earth. Each priest governs a specific region of the invasion, sacrificing billions for Argent Energy. Their presence is so crucial to Hell's dominion that slaying them becomes the Slayer's top priority. But here's the eerie part. Their deaths cause massive destabilization, not just in the demonic ranks, but in reality itself. Their chants, their rituals, their very existence is tied to the fabric of Hell's grip on Earth. Kill them, and you pull the plug on the nightmare. Part 22. The UAC Cult. Humanity's Willing Surrender. One of the most disturbing parts of Doom Eternal's lore isn't Hell. It's Earth. The United Aerospace Corporation, or UAC, doesn't just open portals to Hell. They welcome it. Fueled by greed and desperation, UAC executives embraced demonic energy as a solution to Earth's energy crisis. But worse still is the rise of the UAC cultists, a fanatical human sect that worships the demons. They build altars in cities, wear skulls as masks, and preach obedience to the Dark Lord. Earth isn't just being invaded, it's being converted. The message is clear. Evil doesn't always come with claws and fire. Sometimes it wears a suit, or stands at a pulpit. And when the Slayer rips through their temples and crushes their idols, it's not just vengeance. It's a warning that submission to evil is a choice. Part 23. The Fortress of Doom. A floating tomb of vengeance. The Fortress of Doom isn't just a badass name. It's a literal floating citadel in space. This massive structure serves as the Slayer's base of operations during the events of Doom Eternal. But it's more than a hub, it's a symbol. The fortress is a hybrid of sentinel and human technology, containing relics from across time, including demon skulls, ancient weapons, and even a personalized man cave where the Slayer listens to metal and reads comic books. But deeper inside, it houses the divinity machine and his sarcophagus. The fortress isn't just a war room, it's a monument to his rage, a museum of everything he's lost, and it orbits silently over a dying Earth, waiting for the signal to strike. Part 24, Doomslayer's Sword. The Crucible and the Sentinel Blade. Throughout the series, the Doomslayer becomes a walking arsenal. But two of his most legendary weapons are the Crucible and the Sentinel Blade. The Crucible is more than a sword. It's a weapon forged from pure Argent energy. Can kill titans in a single strike. It's not just powerful. It's symbolic. A key to the Slayer's past, recovered from hell itself. The Sentinel Blade, meanwhile, is the traditional weapon of the Night Sentinels, an honor-bound tool used to fight demons in close combat. Watching the Slayer wield these isn't just cool, it's historical. Every swing carries the weight of ancient wars, broken oaths, and righteous fury. And when the Crucible ignites, it's not just a blade, it's a funeral pyre. Part 25. The Demonic Titans. Monsters of myth and flesh. The Doom universe is full of grotesque horrors, but none are more terrifying than the Titans. These massive, ancient demons once ruled hell. Towering over buildings with limbs the size of bridges, they were the shock troops of the original Hell Wars. The Slayer has fought them, killed them, walked through their rotting carcasses. In Doom Eternal, you see the remains of a Titan killed with a single blow from the Crucible, its skeleton frozen mid-roar. Titans aren't just enemies, they're history, fossilized proof of the Slayer's myth. The fact that they no longer rise means only one thing: he's already slain them all. Part 26. The Doom Hunter. Hybrid horror of flesh and steel. In the cultist base, the Slayer encounters something new, something unnatural. The Doom Hunter. This abomination is a fusion of demon and machine, resurrected and enhanced by the UAC cult. The Doom Hunter was once a warrior of hell, encased in cybernetic armor, given rockets, shields, and speed. But it's not just a mini-boss. It's a message. The demons are adapting. They fear the Slayer so much, they've begun bioengineering counterweapons. But it doesn't matter, because no matter what they build, no matter how advanced or horrific, it still bleeds. And if it bleeds, the Slayer will find a way to kill it. Part 27. The Cultist Base. Earth's blasphemous fortress. The Cultist Base is one of the most visually stunning and spiritually horrifying locations in Doom Eternal. Built by humans under demonic guidance, it combines brutalist architecture with hellish altars and sacrificial pits. It's not just a base, it's a church, and every corridor is a perversion of faith. Sermons to the Dark Lord echo through blood-stained halls. Souls are processed into Argent energy before your eyes. The Slayer doesn't just fight here, he cleanses it. With shotgun fire and brute force, he tears down this twisted monument to betrayal. The cultist base isn't just another level. It's a reflection of what happens when mankind worships the flame instead of fighting it. Part 28. The Slayer's Silence. Louder than words. The Doom Slayer never speaks. Not in 2016. Not in Eternal. Not in the Ancient Gods. And that silence? It's intentional. His actions speak volumes. In every cinematic, every brutal kill, his body language tells the story. He chooses not to talk, because there's nothing left to say. He's heard the lies, the excuses, the sermons, and he's done listening. His silence isn't emptiness. It's judgment. And in a universe filled with screaming demons, chanting priests, and pleading gods, the most terrifying sound is the click of his boots on the floor. Because if you can hear him coming, it's already too late. Part 29. The Origin of the BFG, Humanity's Final Word. The BFG, short for Big Fucking Gun, isn't just a meme. It's the most powerful weapon humanity ever built. Designed to end battles in seconds, it fires concentrated Argent plasma that vaporizes everything in its path. But here's the twist. The BFG was built using demonic energy. The UAC, in their desperation, took Hell's fire and forged it into humanity's last hope. In a way, it's poetic. The ultimate weapon of the Doomslayer is made from the very force he swore to destroy. But when he wields it, it's not compromise, it's reclamation. The BFG is a middle finger to Hell, a reminder that humans, when pushed to the edge, fight back. Part 30, The Slayer Lives On. A legend etched in blood. By the end of the ancient gods, the Slayer is entombed once again. Not because he was defeated, but because his mission is done. For now. But this isn't death. It's a pause. A breath. Somewhere in the ruins of Earth, on a floating fortress, a sarcophagus glows with pulsing red light. The universe is safe for now. But evil never sleeps. And when it rises again, so will he. The Doomslayer is more than a character. He's a myth, a force, a warning, that when darkness comes, it will not find peace. It will not find mercy. It will only find him. Part 31, The Betrayer. The father who damned a world. Hidden in the shadows of Doom Eternal's lore is a man known only as the Betrayer. Once a proud Knight Sentinel, he made a pact with Hell to resurrect his dead son, trading the Crucible and the keys to Sentinel defenses in return. But the resurrection was a lie. His son returned twisted, a demon reborn in hate. That boy? He became the icon of sin. The Betrayer's grief doomed his world. But Hell didn't kill him. They left him alive, cursed with immortality to suffer forever. When the Slayer finds him, the Betrayer doesn't beg for forgiveness. He doesn't ask for redemption. He simply helps. Because he knows the truth. Guilt is eternal. And vengeance is the only peace left. Part 32. The Icon of Sin. Hell's final trumpet. Towering above the cities of Earth, armored in rune-etched bone. The Icon of Sin is Hell's ultimate weapon. Originally a tool of intimidation, in Doom Eternal it becomes flesh, a living engine of destruction. But what's most tragic? The Icon was once human. The son of the Betrayer, corrupted beyond recognition. You don't just fight it, you dismember it, piece by piece. Helmet, armor, limbs, skull, until all that remains is rage and raw muscle. The battle isn't just a boss fight. It's a reckoning, a father's mistake, a friend's burden, and a Slayer's final test. When the Icon falls, it's not a victory, it's mercy. Part 33, Sentinel Prime. Arena of Judgment. Sentinel Prime, ancestral home of the Knight Sentinels, is no longer a city. It's a coliseum. The Slayer's arrival isn't a homecoming. It's a trial. The Maykrs demand justice. For what? For killing Hell's leaders. For disrupting their sole economy. The irony? This arena was once used to crown champions of justice. Now it's a theater of corruption. The Slayer faces a corrupted Sentinel gladiator, armed with a flaming shield and the weight of a fallen order. And when he wins, he doesn't wait for applause. He executes the priest publicly, in defiance of the Maykrs. Sentinel Prime isn't just a level. It's the moment the old laws die, and the Slayer's law begins. Part 34, Urdak. Heaven's Hollow Throne. Urdak is the shimmering realm of the Maykrs, designed as a sterile, sacred counterbalance to Hell. Floating architecture, golden bridges, choirs of the machine divine. But beneath its symmetry lies rot. The Maykrs, obsessed with order, corrupted their purpose. Their alliance with Hell turned heaven into a factory. Souls became currency, and when the Slayer arrives, he brings chaos to their false paradise. He kills the Khan Maykr in the skies of Urdak, shattering the balance. Not with a god-killer, with a punch. In the end, Urdak falls not from invasion, but from the weight of its own sins. And the sound of broken wings echoes forever. Part 35. The Life Sphere. Essence of Creation. Deep in the halls of Urdak lies the Life Sphere, a crystalline relic containing the soul of the Father. It's a divine battery, a reset switch for the universe. But here's the twist. The Slayer doesn't use it to resurrect the Father. He uses it to destroy him. The gods plead. The seraphim protests. But the Slayer knows. No one, not even a god, should hold that much power. By crushing the life sphere, he erases the cycle of creation and control. It's not just rebellion, it's a revolution. And the sound of that shattering crystal? That's the universe finally exhaling. Part 36. The Dark Lord's Army. Reflections of the Slayer. The final battle in the ancient gods doesn't just pit the Slayer against demons. It pits him against himself. The Dark Lord's army is made of corrupted night sentinels. Warriors who once fought beside the Slayer. Now twisted echoes of what he once was. Their tactics, their weapons, even their fury, it all mirrors his own. They don't scream. They don't taunt. They fight like soldiers, like brothers lost in the dark. Every kill is a memory. Every clash is a question. Could this have been me? The Slayer doesn't hesitate. But somewhere, buried in each strike, is sorrow. Part 37. The Khan Maykr, Queen of Hollow Grace. The Khan Maykr speaks in psalms, commands in whispers. She floats above mortals like a divine judge. But her reign is built on compromise. She forged the pact with hell. She turned Urdak into a soul refinery. She believes in one truth, that order justifies sacrifice. But the Slayer? He believes in none of it. Their battle is more than physical, it's philosophical. She fights for preservation. He fights for freedom. When the Slayer tears her wings off and crushes her skull, he isn't just ending her life. He's ending her lie. Heaven doesn't fall with thunder. It falls with silence and blood. Part 38. The Divinity Machine. The Slayer's true birthplace. The Doomslayer didn't become what he is by chance. He was forged in a device of ancient design, powered by divine energy, overseen by the Seraphim. The Divinity Machine infuses him with strength beyond comprehension. But it also locks him into fate. The Slayer didn't ask for power. He asked for revenge. The machine didn't just empower him. It transformed him. It made him a weapon, immortal, unstoppable, but also unfree. The Divinity Machine isn't a blessing. It's a forge. And its product is a man who can never stop, never rest, only rage. Part 39. Demonic Hierarchy. Hell's chain of command. Hell isn't chaos. It's organized cruelty. From imps to barons to archdemons, every monster plays a role. At the top, the Dark Lord, once known as Davith. Below him, hell priests, titans, archviles, and marauders, each crafted for purpose. The marauders, for example, are twisted night sentinels, equal in skill to the Slayer. They don't rush. They hunt. Even the smallest demons, imps, lost souls, pinkies, aren't random. They're designed to distract, flank, exhaust. Hell is a machine, a factory of pain. And the Slayer? He's the wrench that rips it apart, gear by gear, spine by spine. Part 40. The Final Punch. End of a universe, birth of a new one. At the climax of the ancient gods, the Doomslayer faces the Dark Lord Davith. Not in a grand battlefield, in a mirrored arena, because Davith is him, the first god, the first Slayer, the prototype. Their fight is brutal, personal, and when the Slayer finally defeats him, there's no speech, no applause, just a punch, one final crushing blow. And then, silence. The Dark Lord dies. The cycle ends. The Slayer, weaponless and still, is sealed away. But his story isn't over. Because legends don't die. They wait. And one day, when evil rises again, so will he. Part 41. Argent Energy. Fuel of the Damned. Argent Energy is the lifeblood of Doom's modern conflict. It powers UAC facilities, weapons, and even entire cities on Earth. But where does it come from? The answer is horrifying. Argent Energy is extracted from tortured souls in hell. The process is industrial. Souls are broken down, refined through the hellforges, and converted into energy by the Maykrs. It's efficient, renewable, and pure evil. When Earth ran out of resources, humanity turned to this hellish source. Willingly. Every light bulb lit by Argent costs a soul. Every weapon powered by it is baptized in torment. And the Slayer? He doesn't just fight demons. He fights the very fuel that enabled them. Part 42. The Maykrs, architects of damnation. The Maykrs were once revered as divine beings, angelic entities responsible for creating worlds and guiding civilizations. But their beauty hides corruption. Obsessed with maintaining order, they struck a deal with hell. They would harvest souls in exchange for immortality. They created the Hell Priests, oversaw the soul refinery, and constructed Urdak into a temple of bureaucracy. The Khan Maykr, their leader, believes in balance, but at the cost of freedom. The Maykrs don't bleed. They don't scream. They judge. And the Slayer? He judges them back. With bullets, not sermons. Part 43. Seraphim and Samuel Hayden. One in the same. Samuel Hayden, the robotic CEO of the UAC, is one of the most complex characters in the series. A man of science, he advocated for the use of Argent Energy, but also sought to contain hell's spread. But his true identity? He's the Seraphim, a divine being from Urdak who once elevated the Slayer in the divinity machine. His consciousness was transferred into a synthetic body after betraying the Maykrs. Hayden/Seraphim walks the line between angel and engineer, between savior and traitor. He's not a hero, not a villain, just a witness trying to clean up a mess he helped create. Part 44. The Art of Level Design. Story without words. The environments in Doom Eternal don't just look cool, they tell stories. The ruins of cities show humanity's collapse. Blood-drenched temples hint at ancient rituals. Frozen titans buried in ice remind you that even the biggest monsters can fall. The player never needs exposition. The level is the lore. The cultist base is a cathedral of madness. Exultia bleeds royalty and despair. Terra's Nabad is a city of lost glory. And hell itself is not chaos, it's structure. Brutality with purpose. Every stone tells a tale. Every skyline screams history. And the Slayer walks through it all, unimpressed. Part 45. The music of Mick Gordon. Sonic lore. You can't talk about Doom without talking about the soundtrack. Composed by Mick Gordon, the music of Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal is a character in itself. It doesn't just underscore the action, it narrates it. Guttural guitars, synthesized screams, and rhythmic distortion all mirror the Slayer's fury. The Doom Slayer theme is primal. The Khan Maykrs' music blends angelic choirs with warped industrial tones. Even the quiet moments hum with unease. Mick didn't just write songs, he forged weapons. The music doesn't follow the player. It follows the rage. Part 46. The Codex. Bible of the Damned. Every level in Doom Eternal contains hidden codex pages. These aren't just filler, they're scripture. They chronicle wars, reveal betrayals, document the fall of worlds. Through the Codex, we learn about Sentinel culture, Maykr hierarchy, demonic evolution, and the Slayer's mythos. It's where names like Davith, Jekad, and Exultia first appear. It's how we learn that the Dark Lord wasn't just a villain. He was the original god. For lore hunters, the Codex isn't optional. It's essential. It's the only place where the universe whispers back. Part 47. The Maker of the Slayer. Destiny or defiance? Was the Doom Slayer chosen? Or did he choose himself? That's the riddle at the heart of the lore. The Seraphim gave him power. The Maykrs watched him rise. The demons feared him. But none of them controlled him. He rejects prophecy, spits on fate. The Slayer is a cosmic outlier, a variable no one predicted. He wasn't made for vengeance. He became vengeance. And that terrifies the gods more than hell ever could. Because you can fight a demon. You can reason with a king. But you can't stop a man who made himself. Part 48. The Slayer's Armor. History worn in steel. The Doom Slayer's armor is more than protection. It's symbolism. The Praetor suit is of ancient Sentinel design, modified with UAC tech. Its runes are carved from relics. Its visor tracks demons. Its internals are powered by Argent. But what truly matters is that the armor remembers. It's been scorched by hellfire, baptized in demon blood, struck by titans and gods alike. Every scratch is a story. Every dent is a name. The armor doesn't hide the Slayer's humanity. It amplifies it, because underneath it all, he's still just a man. angry enough to fight eternity. Part 49, The Final Seal. Ending the age of gods and demons. With the death of Davith, the Dark Lord, the cycle is broken. Urdak collapses. Hell recedes. Earth can finally begin to rebuild. But the cost is high. The Slayer is sealed away, like a relic too powerful to exist. The Seraphim disappears. The Maykrs vanish. And all that remains is silence. No sequel. No cliffhanger. Just finality. For the first time in the Doom universe, peace. But that peace is fragile. And the Slayer? He waits. Not out of hope, but because evil is patient. And he knows sooner or later the world will need him again. Part 50, The Legacy of Doom. From Pixel to Pantheon. From 1993's Green Pixel Marine to the Godslayer of modern times, Doom has evolved into something more than a game. It's a mythology, a philosophy, a rebellion against stagnation. The Doom Slayer represents raw willpower, the idea that when the universe becomes unbearable, when the gods turn corrupt, and the laws become lies, one man can still stand. Not with speeches, not with armies, just with rage. That's the legacy of Doom. Not the guns, not the gore, but the message. Rip and tear until it is done. Part 61, The Slayer Testaments. Prophecy in blood. Scattered across the ruins of Argent Energy are ancient tablets known as the Slayer Testaments. These aren't just historical records, they're prophecies. Written in reverent, fearful tone, they describe the Doom Slayer's arrival as the wrath of gods, a force of retribution beyond reckoning. The demons speak of him in hushed tones. As a creature even hell cannot stop. These tablets aren't written by humans. They're penned by demons themselves, carved in bone and obsidian. Imagine being so feared that your enemies build shrines, warning others of your return. That's the legacy of the Slayer. Part 62, The Betrayer. Father of Ruin. The Betrayer is one of Doom Eternal's most tragic figures. Once a proud sentinel warrior, he surrendered the keys to Argent Energy to hell in exchange for the resurrection of his son. The Maykrs twisted this deal. His son returned, transformed into the icon of sin. Overwhelmed by guilt, the Betrayer exiled himself, guarding his crucible, awaiting redemption. He's not a villain. He's not a coward. He's a father who gambled everything for love and lost. And now, like the Slayer, he wages war. Not for glory, but for peace that will never come. Part 63, The Icon of Sin, Living Apocalypse. More than just a final boss, the Icon of Sin is a cosmic weapon. 8 stories tall, armored in bone and flesh, powered by unfiltered Argent Energy. Its existence defies logic. It doesn't kill for conquest. Kills because it exists. A beast of prophecy, built by design to be unstoppable. But in Doom Eternal, we learn the twist. The icon is the son of the Betrayer. Not metaphorically, literally. The soul was human, his body corrupted. The Slayer doesn't just destroy a monster. He ends a family tragedy centuries in the making. Part 64, Marauders. Fallen Brothers, ***. Every time you fight a marauder, you're not just clashing swords, you're fighting a fallen Knight Sentinel. These enemies were once brothers in arms to the Doom Slayer. Betrayed by the Maykrs, reanimated by hell, they now wear corrupted Sentinel armor and fight with twisted crucibles and demonic wolves. Their tactics mirror your own. Aggressive, mobile, relentless. Each marauder is a grim reflection, a warning of what the Slayer could become. And every time he defeats one, it's not triumph. It's a eulogy, because they were heroes once, just like him. Part 65, Codex Anomalies. Lore hidden in glitches. Not every lore detail is served on a silver platter. Some are buried deep, very deep. In codex entries, UI elements, unused voice lines, and hidden textures. For example, early versions of Doom Eternal included references to an unreleased realm called the Womb of the World, a possible precursor to Jekad. Data miners have uncovered and used dialogue hinting at alternate Slayer timelines, with multiple chosen figures rejected by the Seraphim. These aren't confirmed in-game, but they exist in the code. In Doom, even the digital scrap heap has teeth. Part 66. The Multiverse Theory. One Slayer, Infinite Hells. What if the Doom Slayer isn't from this universe at all? The multiverse theory in Doom lore is more than headcanon. In-game codex texts hint that the Father and Davith each govern separate realms, implying parallel creations. The Slayer's origin, as a stranger to the Sentinels, supports this. He arrived via portal unknown to their world. Was he sent? Or did he escape? Some fans believe he's the last survivor of a universe where Hell already won. That would make the Slayer not a hero, but a refugee. A warning sent between worlds. Part 67, Ancient Gods DLC. The real ending of Doom. The Ancient Gods is more than just a DLC. It's the true ending to Doom Eternal. In it, the Slayer defies both hell and heaven, kills the reborn Seraphim, defeats the corrupted Maykr race, and slays Davith himself, ending the war at its root. But the cost? The Slayer is sealed in a tomb once more. Voluntarily. He doesn't ask for thanks. He doesn't linger in the aftermath. He disappears, because peace is not his purpose. He was born in war, forged by loss, and without monsters to fight, there's nothing left for him. Part 68, Urdak. Heaven with wires, ****. At first glance, Urdak appears divine. Floating spires, choirs, sacred glyphs. But look closer, it's a machine. Every structure is mechanized. Every ritual calculated. Urdak isn't heaven. It's corporate paradise, a bureaucracy run by sterile gods. The Maykrs don't believe in faith. They believe in metrics, soul extraction quotas, dimensional containment. Their entire theology is based on ROI, return on immortality. And when the Slayer arrives, tearing their world apart, it's not a heretic's attack. It's a system crash. A reboot, written in lead and rage. Part 69, Doom 64. The true prequel ****. Often overlooked, Doom 64 is canonically the direct prequel to Doom 2016. After defeating the demons on Mars and Earth, the Marine chooses to stay in Hell. He says, "I will remain here. I will fight. I will hold them back." That Marine becomes the Doom Slayer. It's the transition point from soldier to myth, from man to monster slayer. This retro game, re-released with Doom Eternal, is more than nostalgia. Its origin. The story doesn't start in Doom 2016. It starts with pixels, and it ends with legends. Part 70, Why Doom Endures. A final word. Why has Doom lasted over 30 years? Because it evolves without compromise. The gameplay grows. The visuals advance. But the core remains the same. You are the fury of the righteous. No cutscenes needed. No dialogue trees. Just rage, justice, and catharsis. The Slayer isn't just a character, he's an idea. A counterforce to chaos. A rebuttal to evil. Every demon is a problem. And you are the solution. That's Doom's promise. And as long as Hell exists, there will be someone to rip and tear. Part 71. The Seraphim. Angel or Architect. The Seraphim, once known as Samur Maykr, was a high-ranking servant of the Father, and the one who transformed the Doomslayer from a mortal into a Godslayer. But his motives? Deeply ambiguous. He defied the Father's command to empower a mortal. He concealed Davitha's life sphere, and in the end, he tried to manipulate the Slayer to resurrect a god he himself betrayed. Was Samur a secret rebel? Or just another pawn trying to play both sides? In the Ancient Gods, he pays the price, his own ambition turning him into a twisted husk. A reminder, even angels fall. Part 72, Argent Energy. Salvation through suffering. Argent Energy powers everything in the Doom universe, from starships to weapons to cities. But it has a horrific origin. It's refined soul energy, extracted from tortured beings in Hell. The UAC knew this. They hid it behind corporate jargon, energy transfer protocols. But the truth is unavoidable. Argent is Hell's oil, and Earth became addicted to it. The Slayer doesn't just fight demons. He destroys the infrastructure that enables them. Because in Doom, energy independence isn't just political, it's moral. If your world runs on suffering, what does that make you? Part 73, The Soul Factory, Industrial Damnation. Few locations in Doom Eternal are as grotesque as the soul extraction factory. Imagine conveyor belts of writhing bodies, drained of essence to power reality. Think of Auschwitz merged with Wall Street. The Maykrs oversee it all, clinical and dispassionate. This isn't chaos, it's organized evil. When the Slayer storms through the factory, destroying processing units and rupturing soul reactors, he's not just fighting monsters. He's breaking the supply chain of damnation, because evil isn't always a beast. Sometimes it's an assembly line. Part 74, and used lore. The unseen gods. Behind the scenes of Doom Eternal, developers considered introducing multiple pantheons, not just the Father and Davith, but other gods ruling alternate realms. Some early lore drafts referenced a third Maykr, who dealt in time, and a goddess of entropy hidden beneath Jekad. These figures were scrapped, but hints remain in unused audio and glyph patterns on Sentinel ruins. Could future games revisit these deities? Or were they erased like Davith before them? In Doom, even what's missing tells a story, and sometimes, absence is the loudest scream. Part 75, The Doomslayer's Mind. The silent storm. He never speaks. He never rests. But inside that helmet is the Doomslayer thinking? Doom Eternal's lore implies he still feels rage, grief, even memory. When he sees the ruined earth, or the grave of the betrayer's son, he pauses. Not because he's weak, but because he remembers. In a world of noise, the Slayer is pure signal. Focus distilled into flesh. No wasted words. No wasted motion. His silence isn't emptiness. It's precision. And behind that silence, a storm. Part 76. What the demons fear most. Demons are ancient, cruel, and fearless. But the moment they sense the Slayer's presence, they run. Some beg, others scream. The lore tells us why. He's the only being they cannot corrupt, cannot stop, and cannot predict. Even Titan-class entities, the literal gods of their realm, fall before him. Why? Because he doesn't want power. He doesn't play their game. He ends it. In Hell's calculus of domination and fear, the Slayer is the one variable they can't compute. The one myth they pray isn't real, but he is. Part 77, Doomguy versus Doomslayer. Are they the same? It's one of the biggest debates in Doom lore. Is the classic Doomguy from the 1993 game the same person as the Doomslayer from Doom 2016 and Eternal? The answer is yes, but not in a straight line. The Slayer is the evolution of Doomguy, canonically the same soul hardened by time, elevated by gods. His journey spans dimensions, eons, and identities. He's gone from Space Marine to legend to deity slayer. What started as pixelated rage has become the stuff of myth. Doomguy didn't change. He became. Part 78, Doom's impact on gaming culture. From 1993 to now, Doom has shaped everything. First-person shooters owe it their genre. Speedrunners idolize it. Modders live inside it. And with every new game, it reinvents itself, without ever forgetting its roots. Doom doesn't follow trends. It makes them. Even outside gaming, its influence echoes. In music, memes, YouTube culture, even fashion. The Slayer is a symbol of defiance, of power with purpose. And Doom is not just a franchise. It's a legacy, still ripping, still tearing. Part 79, Fan Theories Worth Considering. The Doom fandom is brilliant and wild. Some believe the Slayer is the Father's failed attempt at recreating Davith. Others say the Slayer is the reincarnated spirit of the original Seraphim. One theory posits that Urdak is actually a future version of Earth post-purification. Another, more poetic one, that every time you play Doom, you aren't controlling the Slayer, you are him. You embody the wrath. The game becomes ritual. And in that moment, the demons truly fear you. Part 80, Eternal Rage. What comes next? Doom Eternal ends with the Slayer sealed away. Silent. Waiting. But evil never truly dies. Whether it's a new game, a prequel, or a multiverse spin-off, Doom will return. Because the need for a Slayer isn't just narrative. It's universal. There will always be corruption, lies, chaos, and somewhere in the dark someone who says, enough. The Slayer doesn't seek peace. He ensures it. And as long as there's one demon left in the shadows, you can be certain of one thing. He will rip, and he will tear, until it is done. Part 81, Metalore. Doom as a myth cycle. Strip away the pixels, guns, and gore, and what remains is a myth. Doom follows the monomyth structure, the hero's journey. A nameless warrior is cast into hell, faces trials, becomes a godslayer, and returns transformed. But Doom skips the fluff. It skips the call to action, skips the refusal, skips the mentor. The Slayer was born in the abyss. His trial was never about survival. It was about purpose. And his return, not to civilization but to silence. This isn't just a game about demons. It's a modern epic, told in blood and fury. Part 82. The Crucible. Sword of Identity. The Crucible is more than a weapon. It's a metaphor. Forged in battle, wielded by the Slayer, it represents the only thing that can kill a god. Not rage, not power, but resolve. In lore, only the Crucible can destroy titans, and only a being with singular purpose can wield it. That's why the Slayer can't be replaced. The sword answers not to strength, but to conviction. When he draws it, it's not about domination. It's about finality. The Crucible isn't just sharp. It's absolute. Part 83. The Helm. Mask or mirror. We never see his face. And that's by design. The Doomslayer's helmet is a symbol, part armor, part mask, part mirror. It reflects what you project onto him. Vengeance, justice, rage, discipline. That anonymity invites connection. He could be anyone. He could be you. And that's the brilliance of Doom's design. In a world obsessed with identity and narrative exposition, the Slayer says nothing and yet means everything. Because the less you see, the more you feel. Part 84. The Chainsaw. Weapon of Economy ***. The chainsaw is brutal, yes, but in gameplay it's also an economic tool. It doesn't just slice, it fuels. Cut an enemy, get ammo. Need resources? Kill creatively. This loop reinforces the Slayer's character. Always moving, always adapting. Even brutality has a purpose. Lore-wise, it's almost comical that Hell's most feared warrior carries a mechanics tool. But maybe that's the point. In a world of demons and angels, the Slayer's most efficient weapon is human. Loud, uncompromising, familiar. Part 85. Doom's music. The Sound of Wrath. Mick Gordon's soundtrack is a character in itself. It doesn't follow. It leads. The mix of gent guitars, synthesized choirs, throat singing, and industrial noise mirrors the Slayer's descent. Tech meets ancient. Heaven meets hell. In Doom Eternal, every boss has their own theme. Davitha's, for example, includes distorted Gregorian chants, twisted into demonic howls. This isn't background music. It's ritual. Each drop fuels you. Each riff dares you. The music isn't telling you what to feel. It's telling you to fight. Part 86. The Symbolism of Mars. Mars is where it all begins. A red planet. A god of war. The birthplace of the Slayer's transformation. In mythology, Mars represents conquest, masculinity, and righteous aggression. In Doom, it becomes a crucible itself, shattering the Slayer's humanity and reforging him in combat. This isn't random. It's thematic. Mars is war. Earth is innocence. Urdak is order. Hell is chaos. The Slayer? He is the line that cuts between them all. His path isn't just a journey. It's a collision course through meaning. Part 87. Language of the Demons. Glossa Diabolica. Throughout Doom Eternal, you'll see runes, sigils, and demonic text. These aren't random glyphs. They're part of a constructed alphabet called Glossa Diabolica. Fans have translated many of these symbols, revealing hidden messages and in-world jokes. For instance, some wall runes read, "Repent, submit," or even "He comes." Others are warnings to demons. It's world-building in silence, a language only the damned understand. And the Slayer? He doesn't need to translate. He just answers. Part 88, The Cyberdemon. Evolution of a Legend. From its debut in Doom 2 to its reimagining in Doom 2016, the Cyberdemon is a symbol of technological corruption. A demon enhanced by human ingenuity. Hell didn't build it alone, we helped. That's the horror. The line between science and sin blurred into metal flesh. In Doom 2016, it's a massive boss. In lore, it's a tragedy, proof that our inventions can outgrow our ethics. The Cyberdemon isn't just an enemy. It's a mirror. We didn't beat it with better science. We beat it with will. Part 89, The Doom Marine's Humanity. For all his rage, the Slayer still has humanity. He spares the betrayer. He protects Earth. He mourns the dead, silently, with reverence. And when he's done, he walks away, not for glory, not for recognition, because he knows peace is temporary. And in that way, he's the most human figure in the franchise. Not because of weakness, but because of choice. He chooses to fight alone, to suffer endlessly, so others don't have to. That's not just heroic. That's sacred. Part 90, Why Doom Matters. The final tier. Doom is more than demons, guns, or metal. It's a story about resistance. In every generation, evil takes new forms. In every era, someone must rise. Not because they want to, but because they must. The Slayer doesn't fight for himself. He fights because fighting is right. And that resonates in gaming, in life, in myth. Doom reminds us that strength is not cruelty. That silence can be louder than speeches. And that when the world burns, someone must be the fire that fights back. Part 91, Doom's Legacy in Esports and Speedrunning. Doom isn't just a story, it's a culture. Since the 1990s, Doom speedrunning has been a vibrant community pushing the limits of skill and creativity. Esports tournaments celebrating classic Doom versions keep the adrenaline alive. The Slayer's legacy is kept fresh not just by new games, but by players mastering the old ones, discovering glitches, and rewriting what's possible. In a way, every runner becomes a Slayer, battling time and chaos. Part 92, The Doomslayer's Code. Unwritten rules. Though silent, the Slayer follows a strict code. He doesn't kill innocents. He doesn't seek glory. He destroys only what threatens existence itself. He acts with purpose and restraint. This discipline separates him from the demons and the corrupt Maykrs. His fury is controlled. His wrath, measured. In a world where chaos reigns, the Slayer is the immutable law, unyielding and just. Part 93, The Role of the UAC Corporate Sin. The Union Aerospace Corporation, UAC, is more than a backdrop. It's a symbol of human ambition unchecked. Their thirst for Argent Energy drives the invasion. Their greed opens hell's gates. Throughout the games, we see their influence corrupting not just technology but morality. The Slayer's fight is as much against human folly as it is against demons. A cautionary tale of power without conscience. Part 94, Hidden Easter Eggs. For the fans, ***. Doom is packed with Easter eggs, from classic arcade references to cheeky nods to the developers. Look closely and you'll find portraits of the original designers, secret messages from Mick Gordon in sound files, and hidden rooms referencing other ID Software classics like Wolfenstein. These are love letters to fans who delve deeper, rewards for those who seek beyond the surface. Part 95, The Importance of Silence. The Slayer's silence is intentional. It creates a space for the player's own emotion and imagination. No voice lines, no cutscenes clutter his mission. Just the sound of battle and the pounding soundtrack. This design choice makes every player's experience unique. The Slayer is a vessel for the player's fury, focus, and determination. Silence isn't emptiness. It's the most powerful language of all. Part 96, Doom's Visual Style. Brutalism meets Gothic. Visually, Doom combines brutalist architecture with Gothic horror. Stark concrete meets demonic sigils. Cold technology melds with fiery hellscapes. This blend creates a timeless aesthetic, futuristic yet ancient, sterile yet alive. It mirrors the lore, a war between progress and decay, Order and Chaos, Man and Monster. Part 97, The Slayer's Eternal Prison. At the end of Doom Eternal, the Slayer is sealed away but not defeated. This eternal imprisonment is a pause, not an end. He waits for the next threat. This cycle is unending, a reminder that vigilance never rests. The Slayer's story is a loop, a spiral of war and peace, destruction and rebirth. And somewhere, the next battle already stirs. Part 98, Doom's Philosophical Core. Wrath as Justice. Unlike many heroes, the Slayer embodies wrath. Not anger, but righteous fury. His violence is not mindless. His justice meted out in blood and flame. In Doom, wrath becomes a tool for cleansing, for reclaiming order from chaos. It challenges players to embrace power responsibly. The Slayer's rage is an ethical force, a testament that sometimes peace must be forged in fire. Part 99, Fan Creations. Community and Creativity. The Doom community thrives on creativity. Mods, fan art, custom maps, and lore theories keep the universe alive between official releases. Fans reinterpret the Slayer's story through comics, animations, and music. This dialogue between creators and players strengthens the franchise. It proves Doom is more than a game. It's a shared mythology, continuously rewritten. Part 100, Final Thought. The Slayer's Promise. The Doom Slayer's fight will never end. As long as darkness threatens, he will rise. He is not a hero bound by destiny, but a force of will that defies it. His promise is clear. No matter the odds, no matter the cost, he will rip, and he will tear, until it is done. And for every player who picks up the controller, that promise becomes theirs. Together, the fight is eternal.